April 18th today, day 15 of my repotting season, and it's actually a little on the chilly side today. We had some freezing temperatures last night for the first time in a while. Proper freezing, it was like -3, feels like -8 or something like that for a couple hours. So yeah, been a while since that happened, but I put all the freshly repotted trees, and especially the ones that are, leafing out, inside the shelf there, and then I put this board up against it, so that kind of protected them from any frost. And it seems like they all escaped unscathed. Yep, looking good still. So yeah, it's Monday today, and unfortunately I have to work for a living. I can't just do bonsai all the time, so I'm just gonna be able to do one tree today. So I'm gonna make it a really small, but I think detailed project. This tiny little one, tiny cedar, is actually cedar number 1 out of the 21 seedlings that I potted up a year ago. So I've got a new numbering sequence now, and yeah. Not quite sure exactly what I'm gonna do with this tree in the end, but I do know that I want this to be probably one of my very few little mame trees. I want to keep it really small. It's got some very interesting movement way down at the base of the trunk there, and there's not really any branching along here, but I think if I prune some of this up top, I can hopefully try and force some back budding and then get some more interesting movement really low down and create like this, strange twisting trunk that's about 10 centimeters high. And then, I don't know, in about 5 years, start building the secondary or primary branches. Really, I just want to thicken up the trunk as much as I can. So I'll probably let a sacrifice leader go up, cut off everything else for now, and then repeat that process for the next 5 years or so. I don't know. We'll see how long it takes to develop. I'm in it for the long haul. I want to experiment with, different sizes and styles of bonsai, different tree types. I just want to experiment with everything. Using clip and grow for everything. I'm not really into wiring. Yeah, experiment with everything and then see what I like and see what lives. See what turns into something cool one day and what just ends up as a tree in my eventual, yard on my property one day. Okay, so I think according to my new numbering system, this is going to be cedar number 3, pretty sure, that I've repotted and numbered up so far this year. 3 is a good number. It's an appropriate number for a funky little shaped tree like this. You can see there's actually a bud. Where's the camera? There's actually a bud down there that's grown out. That's pretty new. That wasn't really happening before. Now it's growing on the inside of a curve there, which isn't good overall, or for the end design, but I'll let it grow for now as kind of a sacrificial lower branch to thicken that trunk base up. And there's already a tiny little bud up here as well, or this is the bud, I think, that's forming. It hasn't opened yet. This tiny little one that's already green, you can see up there, opened last year but really didn't grow at all and should keep extending this year. So what I'm gonna do is just keep the leader. I'll keep this much up there to grow up big and strong, and then I'll cut off all this other main branching up here, and then let some of these little ones grow up in the future, and I can select some branches next year from them. Yeah, so I'm gonna cut off everything except for those, so I'll just do fairly rough cuts. They don't need to be flush with the trunk. I'm expecting it to grow quite a bit in the future. I can let this shoot grow. And I'll just chop this to there. There's a few little shoots growing out of there. They can all start taking off. This one, I'm just gonna shorten. Just pinch those actually, better than cutting. And this lower one, I'll pinch that all the way back to, I guess, way back to there. Oops. That's a little too old to pinch. The vein inside had hardened off already. These ones I can pinch though. Looks like their tips have already started kind of greening up and getting ready for the growing season. This big one I'll take off all the way back to here. Taking a bunch off there. And everything that's left has more or less been pinched back. I don't need to do everything. Take off most of the growing tips so that the hormone goes all the way up to this leader. Anyways, that's enough playing around with that for now. I think that's pretty good. Opens things up, allows more sunlight down onto the bottom part of the trunk, onto this bud, which should start opening up soon, and then onto that bud down there. And you can see there's a whole bunch of buds in this junction here, and I'll just let everything grow wild this year, prune it back next year. So yeah, quite a bit of foliage I took off there. And I'll do a bit of root training. But then I'm gonna put it back in the same pot. So yeah, last year I was using drainage screens and a bunch of, large coarse perlite at the bottom. So that's kind of a wasted opportunity to be growing good roots in there, I think. You can see how they kind of just grow around the edge and nothing really happened in the middle. So that's a bit unfortunate, but I won't be doing that this year, and I haven't been. I'm not using drainage screens at all anymore, actually. I'm just using a few, one piece of coarse grained perlite over each small little drainage hole in the pots, and that's it. I think it'll allow for better, fine fibrous root growth this year, because the roots, they want to shoot straight to the bottom where the most of the moisture is. But then if they don't have the opportunity to, keep branching out and become more fine down there, then yeah, like I said, kind of a wasted opportunity. Anyways. The roots are pretty fine and delicate on this thing. Very thin and hair-like, which is good. There's not a lot of thick ones I'm gonna have to take care of. You can just kind of sort things out so they're more radial and Call it good. Very nice roots, actually. Okay, I'll get them washed off in a sec, and then I can start doing a little bit of pruning. Get them growing radially in the future. They are pretty radial already, the ones that are higher up, so I can select the root plane and get rid of any downward growing ones. Alright, looking pretty nice in there. Maybe I'll have to go look at the video, last year's video, but maybe I did actually root prune, prune the taproot off last year. Not sure. Anyways, that's pretty cool. Now, yeah, some of these are growing down and around all over the place. Just get rid of a couple of those in there. It's kind of a thicker one, I can get rid of that. It's also growing kind of downwards. And that one's kind of twisting around in a weird direction. Take it all the way back. There's a lot more, better ones that can replace it. There's another thick root going that way. I can maybe just shorten that one and get that started as, the very modest beginnings of a nabari. Very early stage. So a lot of these roots are flaring out really well. Maybe I can just do some pruning first and then do some more selecting. Yeah, I'll just do a little bit of hedge pruning on the roots. Get everything shortened up. And yeah, that's gonna more or less fit into that pot really well. So I don't really need to make them any shorter, but I can just do my main kind of branch selection now. So first of all, this one, no, never mind. I thought it was growing too far up, but it's good. You can see this root right there. It's kind of, it's thick there, and if it came out this direction it'd be perfect, but it kind of comes back in a weird angle that way, so I think I'm gonna try and get rid of it. All of it with the nice pruners. Make a nice cut so that some better angled roots can grow off of that. If I can get in here at this kind of angle without cutting any extra roots that I don't want to cut. Oh, you can't even see that. Okay, right there. Okay, I need to get a little more in there, I guess. It's probably gonna take a lot off. Because it also, yeah, okay. It also connects to this other thicker one that I was gonna kind of shorten, but maybe I can just get rid of entirely. Instead, there's one. So there's that cut, and hopefully I've angled it well enough. It's not a great cut, but hopefully I haven't damaged that bud there by holding it. It's a new experience doing very delicate work like this. Nigel makes it look so easy. Yeah, that one grows off at a weird angle. This thicker one in here, get rid of it. Pretty thick one. These are pretty good. Those are pretty good. Just gotta tease those out a little better. I think that one's going at a bad angle. These ones, there's one on top and then one below. Maybe I can keep the bottom one. Very carefully take out the bottom one, the top one I mean, or not. Okay, yeah, I got that kind of. This thicker one, I'm gonna shorten to that thinner root going the right direction. This one's kind of a weird angle. Now, there's kind of like two different root planes going on. There's like some good ones down here and then some good ones up here. And I think for now, jeez, keep knocking that bud with my finger, but I think it's gonna be okay. Yeah, I think I just want to keep this tree nice and strong for now. So there's a lot of nice radial roots here. I'll let them keep growing, and then next year I can, get rid of half of them once they've strengthened up even better. But that's, like, I think a really good start to a radial root system. I was able to keep a lot more of these roots than I thought I would be able to. Keep going out of the camera frame. Yeah, and then I can train them kind of like that, so there's a pretty good root flare. Just gotta get this pot prepared. Is it gonna stand up on its own? Almost, but not quite. So yeah, there's nothing glamorous about this pot that I'm gonna put it into, but it just needs to be a little training pot for a very small mame tree. Okay, how deep should this go? Actually, I'll prune a little bit more root off the edges. Doesn't need to be quite that long, just to get it to fit in the pot better. Actually, I'll shorten that thick one at the end there. Okay, that's enough messing around. That's nice. So yeah, these are basically combed out in the right direction already. So I'll just get the angle right, something like that. And I'm definitely gonna have to work this soil down into the roots, which is a very good thing. Normally the trees I repot don't have such a nice fibrous root system. So this little mame tree is off to a very good start in its young life, I think. Just make sure that final planting angle is okay. Yeah, that's good. There's some roots pretty close to the surface. Some of those might end up, drying up and dying off, but that's okay. Got a lot more lower down in the soil. Get a little bit more soil on there. This is a lot of, so I did a lot of that chopstick, and just to make sure the soil was in between all those roots really well, filling all the voids, the gaps between the particles. Okay, well, yeah, we'll see what happens with that. The planting angle's a little bit different. I'm hoping, I'm gonna place it in the yard so that the sun is, facing mostly this direction, so that hopefully the new growth can get focused over that way to provide some more movement to this trunk. I don't know, we'll see what happens. Just get some water on it. Make sure it's nice and sturdy in the pot before I call this a finished product. And I'll probably get a little bit of moss onto this one, because it's a very small pot that will dry out fairly regularly, frequently. Yeah, I'll get a small stone or something on there as well. But once the moss develops, it'll hold everything together as well. So yeah, there it is. Cedar number 3, tiny little one. It might still be in the mame size category for now, but pretty much all of this up here is just sacrifice growth, and whatever comes out of all these buds, I'll do something with in the future. It's planted fairly deep in that pot, so it doesn't really accentuate, you know, the movement at the very bottom, but I can worry about that more in the future. I know what's under there, and I can't wait to see it next time it's uncovered. Alright, as always, thanks for watching. Catch you next time. Cheers.